athletics. Put together a few slides here. As I typically like to do, I like to show off the highlights that we have in our athletic department. So going through those, our participation rate is at the highest we've been in many years. We've typically hovered around 54, 55%. We are now at 62% that have played a sport in the last 3 seasons. That represents 722 kids from grade 7 through 12. So it's a really high number there for us. Our GPA of the athletes versus non-athletes continues to be higher. It's consistently 3 to 4 points higher in the GPA. We continue to have New York State Scholar Athlete teams in the fall. We had a Con Ed Scholar Athlete winner in this fall, Zoe Stats, from our volleyball team. We have league champions. We've had 4 league champions thus far this year: girls cross country, girls volleyball, girls winter track, and boys basketball. We've had teams and individuals competing for sectional championships. In the fall, the volleyball team played in the Section 1 championship. In the spring, girls lacrosse played in the Section 1 championship. Most recently, as Mr. Rockrider alluded to, we had a very successful track meet the other night. Eli Aronson was the Class B high jump champion for Section 1. He won that. Multiple individuals competing at the state qualifiers. We had 2 girls in the swim championships in the fall of Ithaca. We have a boys swimmer / diver who finished 2nd overall in Section 1 diving championships last week. He'll be going off to the state championships in March. So we've been competing at a high level as well. Our teams have raised money for various charities. To name a few I put up there: for breast cancer awareness, Friends of Jacqueline; children's diabetes; mental health awareness we've done as well; addiction awareness in St. Jude Hospital. We had our staff appreciation games in the fall, and that's always a hot week for our athletes. They love to do it. They enjoy recognizing our teachers. I've been asked to promote that program at next year's New York State Athletic Directors Conference. I've been asked to promote that program at the statewide conference. So it's something that's really taken off in our area. And it comes from the kids. They enjoy doing it. Our sportsmanship promotion we've done with posters in our district, and have them around with some of the younger athletes in our elementary schools, connecting them with current varsity athletes. We're set to continue that on Saturday, March 17th, with another round of those as well. Great Alumni Connection, Hall of Fame weekend. We're having more and more alumni games for our team, so the alumni are excited to come back with our current athletes. Finalize the refurbishing of the gymnasium. If you haven't been in there recently, we finally have our signs on our veteran seats, our bleacher seats. We have signs right on there designated for reserve seating, thanking our U.S. veterans on behalf of the Hendrick Hudson student athletes. So that's completed. Again, a big hit for Hendrick Hudson. As other school districts come and visit us, I get a lot of compliments on that as well. And this year my task has been refurbishing the Hall of Fame area. We've started that. I've been working with some interior decorators. We had a professional plaque installer install all our plaques, and they're hanging all around our Hall of Fame on the walls right now. And our next step is now to the display cases that they were in, to update those. So again, it's an area that people like being in and brings some good promotion to Hendrick Hudson. The nuts and bolts of this program here, and our numbers for next year, our last year's numbers compared to this year's numbers. I'll go through them line by line, giving you a summary on them for these. Our coaching salaries, it represents an increase of $6,000. Typically, we're at a 2% increase there for contractual. That would take us to about $9,500. So we saved a little money there. We had one position that we don't have in next year's budget for that being the head ice hockey coach. That was in this year's budget, but with our merger, we don't have that. Save some money there, and then through some attrition of coaches retiring and bringing on some younger coaches, we've saved some money there, so it's not as much of an increase as we've typically had the last few years. The staff salaries are a contractual increase. That staff salary, that represents the athletic office. That'll be myself, Nicole Loretti in the athletic office, and Meg Greiner, our athletic trainer. The equipment line, we had $15,000 this year. That represents our large purchases such as high jump mats, pole vault mats, soccer goals, lacrosse goals, anything in that matter. So we reduced that by $5,000. The supplies represents one of the few increases that I feel is needed. We have really held the line on that 43, 245 line. We've held that for almost 10 years. And we've held that with all sorts of creativity, and it's just at a point, those supplies are the everyday items that you need for the athletic department to move forward on. The uniforms, the baseballs, the soccer balls, the lacrosse balls, all of that that goes into the everyday program. So we've held that at zero for almost 10 years, as I said. So it's at a point where we just need that increase. We're holding the line, our contractual and our BOCES line. So our contractual line, that would be our reconditioning contracts, our entering of tournaments, the bowling lanes for our bowling team, the ski mountain for our ski mountain, any of the contractual pieces that we have to enter in with area facilities. BOCES line represents the BOCES regional office, the Section 1 athletic office, the fees that we have associated with that, our costs associated with daily with officials and the referees. At the finance meeting the other day, I did make a point that I'm going to try to hold that line as best I can for next year. The officials' contract is up, and it's being renegotiated as we speak. There's a potential it could be ratified in the summertime, and that could bring a slight increase. I'll do my best to keep that number even so for next year, but just for next year, at this time next year, we could be looking at an increase based on the officials' contract. Our chaperone money went down $27.90, and that number's gone down almost $20,000 now in the last 2 years, and a lot of that has to do, I think, with John Anderson and his staff who bring on those security guards, and he flexes his staff as much as he can in terms of that. If they can come in at 10 o'clock in the morning one day, if there's not something in the district that they have to be at, then they'll come in at 10 and they'll work games afterwards. So that has helped us a lot get that number down, and hopefully we can continue that direction and continue to knock it down little by little. Our transportation is a large decrease. Working with Ms. Gilio, our transportation supervisor, we've gotten very creative. Shuttling teams back and forth. For instance, this past Saturday, our boys and girls were at Croton. In the past, there might have been 2 buses because they wanted one for the girls team, one for the boys team. It was one bus shuttling teams back and forth. We were at Croton. We've done that for other local schools, shuttling multiple teams back and forth. Sometimes going from one district, shuttling team to another district if we could. Drop-onlys for large events that are all day on a Saturday, if we can do that, if it's not too much on our families that are there. So we've done as much as we could with that. And the overtime line, that's the number, that number represents Mr. Molini and his staff. If we're here on a Saturday morning and nothing else is going on, we're having practices or games, and custodians have to be here on an overtime salary. And again, that number, we've held the line on that as well. I've worked closely with Mr. Molini and the staff here to try to minimize as much overtime as we can. So it took us to a complete decrease overall for the athletic department, a little over $7,000 with all the lines there. So for all we're getting out of that, we were able to save some money as well. Just brief, are there any questions on those numbers? Because I can go to the next slides, which I talked a little bit about as well. Oh, in the back.
It's very good to see.
So the ample opportunity is still there. We're up to 31 different varsity programs, and that goes up a little bit. I've been creative working with some of my peers in the area. For instance, the board was very supportive of a last-minute opportunity that came our way last November. We had some interest from some of our kids in the district to start a gymnastics team or a gymnast to be an independent team and follow somebody else's schedule. Working with some of my peers, it just became more fiscally responsible to myself and 4 high schools to merge. And we had a merged gymnastics team, and our one freshman represented us as Hendrick Hudson with Somers, Yorktown, and Croton. And they each had 1 or 2 gymnasts as well. And our freshman was able, she actually qualified for sectionals as a freshman and participated. And it was another opportunity that's there at a very fiscally responsible number as well. So our varsity programs actually increased, 64 different teams. And as I said earlier, that's 62%, that's 722 of our student athletes from grade 7 through 12.
That's up from...
That's up. That percentage is almost up 5 or 6%.
Yes.
Yes, we were always about 55, 56. That's as high as it's been in many years. And then, as I said throughout my presentation here, we're continuing to be as fiscally responsible as we can. Transportation overtime, the flexible scheduling of our chaperones, our security, building overtime, the attrition of staff help in the coaching salaries, and our equipment line reduced. I will be able to work with a reduced line there for next year. So I think for all of that, for all we get out of that, and our kids bring a lot to our program, a lot to the district here, to all of our programs. So it's a place to be proud of, and I am every day with them after school here. So, in the words of one of our coaches, it's a great day to be a sailor.
Well, we would like to thank you for being in charge of our sailor program and being recognized for being an outstanding athletic director. So we thank you. I mean,
Thank you. I
it's a
thank all of you
great
for your
honor
support.
for you
Aw.
and
Thank you.
a lot of the programs that you've implemented. And we're very proud of you. And as I said, thank you very much.
I'm proud of the student athletes, so it's about them. So thank you, though. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Good.
very much.